Did you know that it's possible that playing the harp can actually cause you pain and even injuries? Yes, it's really true. But I'm here to share with you 5 best practices to avoid these things from happening. As a beginning harpist, I'm sure you can relate to just wanting to get going and touch the instrument and learn to play the instrument and play your first song. When I first started out, those were the things I was most interested in, and I really never even considered that unless I did certain things properly, I might have pain when I played or even injure myself so that playing became very uncomfortable. Recently, I've gotten more interested in this topic when, as we get older, we all experience aches and pains. And I was noticing that while practicing, I would get sore in my lower back or my arms or shoulders. I would notice that I was tensing up in my shoulders and neck, sometimes even gritting my teeth when I was concentrating really hard. And I even noticed some leg pain because I was sitting in the same position for so long. So I started to think about this, what was causing it, and trying to find ways to alleviate these issues. And I did run across in the How to Harp membership that Heather Downey has a whole series of warm-up exercises. She strongly advocates for not just warming up your fingers when you start to practice by playing exercises before you actually practice playing tunes. But Heather really believes that before you even do that, you need to warm up your body. So she gives some exercises for warming your body up. It doesn't take more than 5 or 10 minutes, but they will get you physically ready to start to play. And also, it helps you to get your mind in the proper mindset for concentrating on what you're doing. Because part of what you're doing as you're warming up your body, loosening up your joints and muscles that you're going to be using, you're also breathing more deeply. And it puts you in a better mode of concentrating for what you're going to be doing. So I started doing these when I remembered. And I was still pretty casual about it, and still, as I tend to be, in a hurry to get right down there and play my pieces that I was working on. But then I started really experiencing severe pain in one of my shoulders. Severe pain and also lack of range of motion. It didn't bother me so much when I played, but most of the rest of the day and night. And I thought maybe I had some kind of an impingement or an injury in my shoulders. And I should probably stop right here to say I am not a medical professional, nor am I a physical therapist. So what I'm about to tell you is just my own personal experiences and what I have learned through research into this topic. But I am not giving you medical advice by any means. So to go on with my story about my shoulder pain, it lasted for quite a while to the point that I knew I had to seek medical attention for it. And my doctor sent me for x-rays, and I found out that actually what was going on was arthritis in my shoulder. This was kind of disappointing to hear because I thought if I had injured something, I could get it fixed. But arthritis, once you have it, you learn to live with it. So you don't get rid of arthritis, you learn to manage arthritis. And as it so happens, my arthritis has progressed into my other shoulder. So I became very motivated to have as little pain as possible while playing and just in daily living and getting a good night's sleep. I tried a couple of things. At my doctor's recommendation, I made an appointment to go for 4 weeks of physical therapy, but it took about a month before I could get to see the therapist. And so, at the recommendation of a friend, I saw a chiropractor, which is something I was a little bit skeptical about and had never done. But this friend and her husband just swore by seeing a chiropractor for their aches and pains. So I thought, well, it's something I can do while I'm waiting for physical therapy and see what it's like. And then I'll be able to compare the two things. So I went for a few sessions with that until physical therapy began. And then I had about 4 weeks in total with some interruptions in physical therapy. And I learned a lot through that. I also found online some other resources for playing without pain and limiting injuries. I actually took a course through learning the harp on playing without pain. And I found a few other YouTube resources that were helpful. And I will put those links in the description of the video below. And I'll also link to a playlist that contains 3 of the YouTube videos I found that are cost-free that you might want to follow up. And the link to the playlist will be at the end of this video too. So, what did I learn through all of this time, which has gone on now for almost 5 months? I'll give you the tips that I think are most helpful that could apply to you or anyone who's learning to play the harp, and will help you to avoid having pain when you play and hopefully avoid injuring yourself when you play. And I hope that it will encourage you to take more seriously than I did the need to treat your body well and think about your body and your muscles and what's going on inside of you, as well as your yearning and excitement about playing the harp. So here are my tips, and I hope that they will be helpful to you as they were to me. My first tip is to be aware of what your body is telling you. If you start to feel any kind of pain at all, what your body is telling you is it's time to take a break. I didn't ever take breaks. I would sit there for as long as I felt I needed to or wanted to, and I wasn't paying attention to all the things I mentioned before about what I was feeling in my body. So along with that, also try and be relaxed as possible, relaxing all those muscles, and in between practicing pieces or even during a piece, stop and just move your body around a little bit and loosen up. And if you're really feeling stiff and sore, stop, get up, walk around, take a break. It doesn't have to be long, but you just need to move. If you're like me, as I mentioned, I tend to be so intent and concentrating so hard that I forget to move. And also breathe. Remember, you've got to breathe. I mean, breathe from down in your diaphragm. Nice, big, deep breaths. One of the warm-up techniques for getting prepared to play is to just breathe in slowly to the count of 5, hold it, and then breathe out to the count of 5. And do that several times. And just that one thing relaxes you and also just gets you in that concentrated focus mode. So that's number 1. Listen to your body and do what it's telling you to do. The second tip is As I mentioned a little bit previously, warm up your body before you warm up on the harp. Now, I mentioned that Heather Downey has a series of warm-up exercises. You must be a member of the How to Harp community to access those. But there are so many other resources available through How to Harp for a very reasonable subscription price that I would recommend you do that. Warm-up exercises that really focus on all the parts of your body from your neck through your shoulders and your arms and your fingers really do help, and it's worth looking into, I think, to get access to those exercises. Another thing Heather Downey provides is interviews with harpists, and one of them was Stephanie Clausen, who's had a lot of physical challenges and a lot of real pain and medical issues. And she has a wonderful YouTube article, which I'll put in that playlist that I mentioned, that talks about what she went through with the pain she was experiencing. One other really great resource available to How to Harp members is a workshop done by Samantha Ballard. She actually demonstrates some warm-up exercises and also static stretches that she recommends you do when you're finished playing. I found Samantha's workshop very informative, and I use the exercises that she recommended almost every single day. Tip number 3, which I touched on a little bit earlier too, was to take breaks. Do you take breaks? As I said, I never used to. Now I really do. Soon as I start to feel any twinges anywhere, I know it's time to get up off that chair, to walk around, to do some stretching, to just get myself relaxed again, to breathe a little bit. It doesn't have to take very long, just a change of your posture and giving your muscles that maybe you've been tensed up a little bit, give them a chance to relax and cool down. So that's tip number 3. Make sure you take enough breaks so that you're not overstressing your muscles. Tip number 4 has to do with making sure you have proper posture and that your harp and seating setup are not going to cause you any kind of pain. And I got the best information from a video by Lori Riley where she actually demonstrates how to sit properly, how to hold your harp properly, how to make sure your harp and your chair are at the proper height. This video also goes into many of the other things that I've mentioned already. It's excellent and well worth watching. After I saw that video, I got myself a new chair. It's called a musician's chair. You can get it on Amazon, and I have the link to that below in the description. That has helped a lot, and you're able to adjust it to several different heights. And I also found I was having the harp, the base of the harp too far away from me, and it was lower on my shoulder than it should have been, and it was causing me to have to reach too far to get to the bass notes. Now I keep it closer. I can sit up. One thing she really stresses is don't sit with a rigid back like you're at attention. Sit with a relaxed back, and then you bring the harp to you. You don't bring yourself into the harp. The harp comes to you. And just making those few adjustments have really helped me a lot. I don't have that kind of lower back pain that I used to have when I played at all anymore. Tip number 5, and very important, is that if you are having pain when you play, and it's not getting better even after you've employed some of the tips that I've mentioned today, please consult a medical professional and see if there's something else going on. I also should mention that if you suffer from any physical conditions that are causing pain in and of themselves, all of the things I've mentioned here today would be still very helpful to you. They're not going to improve your medical condition, just like they're not going to take away my shoulder arthritis. But I can tell you that I have minimal pain now from my arthritis, that I've been very diligent in warming up and doing static stretches when I'm finished. And I also try to start my day with just a physical warm up that's specifically aimed at people with shoulder arthritis. So these are things that I have done that I've found really helpful and very important. And the resources that I've mentioned, I think, are excellent and worth you taking a look at to find out more. And now, as always, I'd like to ask you to please share your experiences with pain and playing the harp. If you've experienced it, what have you done about it? If you have a routine to avoid it or alleviate it, what is your routine? Also, I want to thank you all, those of you who are subscribers, for continuing to follow me here on YouTube. It's really been an interesting journey for me, and it keeps on getting more interesting all the time. I keep learning more and thinking more deeply about my process. I've been so encouraged by the affirming comments that have come to me from my subscribers, that you've encouraged me to just keep on going. If you're a new person here, I'd love to welcome you here to Primetime Harpist. It's becoming a very supportive and sharing little community that we have here, and I hope you'll gain something from it and join in on our conversations as well. So please subscribe, and if you know someone who could benefit, please share. And I'll be back talking to you and sharing my music with you soon. Thank you all, and happy harping.